This is the Art Marketing Minute with Eric Rhoads, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Make More Money Selling Your Art. In the Marketing Minute, we answer your questions to help your art career. Brought to you by artmarketing.com, the place to go to learn more about marketing. Now, here's your host, Art Magazine publisher, Eric Rhoads.
Thank you, Jim Kipping, and thank you for joining us today. I am here. My goal is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist. So let's get right to today's questions. One of them is a question from Sharon Bamber of Nacups, British Columbia. I probably said that wrong. Sharon paints pastels and she sells online, wants to know, should she be selling her art framed or unframed? Well, of course, the easy answer is however it's going to sell is the best way to sell it. I am a big believer in spending money on quality frames. Frames make paintings look even better. They present a great image. And if you want to make a painting feel more expensive, put it in a better frame. And it really does a big job. You can make a big difference in the presentation of a painting in person in a gallery if it's in a great frame. The galleries will tell you, most galleries will tell you that if they've oftentimes taken a painting, put it in a new and better frame, and it's sold immediately, and sometimes at a higher price. I've got a story about that in my book where we talk about framing and the importance of framing. So I think, you have to keep in mind that you want to control the environment. If you show your painting in a frame online, if that's what you're doing, I think that's probably a great way to do it because then they can envision it. And it would even be nice to show that painting in a frame hanging in a room so they could envision it in a room. That's a nice thing to do. So you might be able to pull that off. And so if you can do that, great. People judge your painting for the whole package. And you don't want to send a painting to somebody and have them have to figure out how to get it framed and not be able to have that instant gratification. It's going to sit somewhere until they get to the store to get it framed, and they might choose a crummy frame and it might not look good. So the best thing you can do is to try to help them. Of course, you're going to have to get more money for that frame, but that's okay. I think people would expect it. It's an option you can give. You can also offer, of course, to have a dark frame, a gold frame, a different kind of frame, glass, no glass, etc. There's a lot of options for you. So just consider that. I guess if you're doing pastel, you probably want to do glass, right? So anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. The next question from Steph Lord of Chicago. Steph said at PACE, the plein air convention, during Art Marketing Boot Camp, you talked about the importance of marketing via a newsletter. If I'm starting out, can I and should I buy a list of names to send to send the newsletter to, direct mail to? Well, this is a complex subject. First off, the reason you want to do a newsletter is because you want to stay top of mind with people all the time, and having a good monthly excuse to do that is great. The problem with email newsletters, everybody's doing them. Now, some of them get through, some of them don't, but most newsletters tend to be all about me. Look at me, look at what I'm doing, look at how great I am, and that's kind of boring, sorry. But if you can make it more interesting, making it about them, then that'll help a lot. In our Art Marketing in a Box product, which is a kind of a year of promotions of what am I trying to say? We have a year of promotions of emails, we have year of promotions of newsletters, and we have postcards and so on. They're all pre-written, and the people that are using those consistently are getting really good results. And they're written in a way so that it's entertaining and enlightening to people, so it's not just all about you. Of course, you have to make it about you at some point. You want to talk about your paintings and so on, but you've got to get them wanting to read it. So I think this is a really good question. The first thing you want to do is you want to build a list. You want to build your own list in your own way. A list is very important, and you want to consider those names to be very valuable to you. And so you might be willing to offer some kind of an incentive to get a name, but you don't necessarily want to go out and buy a list of names. Now, people in the direct marketing business do this all the time, but you've got to find somebody who's interested in a product. If you ended up with a list of names of people who didn't like or buy art, then that's not going to do you any good. And so if you're going to buy a list of people in your community who are known to have maybe frequented a certain art gallery or certain types of art galleries. You can actually buy the list of people who bought art from American Express. You know, you have to pay a lot of money for that list, but so you could pick out the galleries that they bought from, and if they're the type of art you do, then that could be a positive thing. But if they're, of course, you're doing traditional art and they're doing modern art, you probably don't want to approach those buyers because they're not likely to buy. But the best thing is build your own list. People are going to respond better if they know you already. They've met you at an art show, they met you at a community event, maybe a charity event. You get their, you give them your card, you get their card, you ask if you can put them on the list. You don't have to have a lot of people. It's the idea of frequency that sells people, repetition, time and time and time again. And you may think it's too much, but over time, it really works to bring them on board and buy paintings. And of course, we've got all these special little promotions we do in our thing that kind of gives an excuse to talk about how to get a painting for Valentine's Day or for Christmas or a birthday or something like that. So you want to direct mail people who know you, build your list that way. You can also do this incentive, as I mentioned earlier. I talk a lot about what we call lead magnets. I talk about them in my book, Make More Money Selling Your Art. And the idea is you give them something valuable, perceived to be valuable, that they want in exchange for their email address. And you see this all the time. Somebody will say, well, here's a free ebook, or here's a free something. They're trying to get you to give them the email address. And that's so that you can send them further things about you, including your newsletter. So you could say, hey, here's an ebook on my 20 best paintings. Sign up for it and I'll send you my newsletter. And that's a good way to get your newsletter out there. And of course, if you have a way you can capture their physical address, then do that. For instance, they're not going to give you their physical address probably just for an ebook, but if you say, hey, thanks for signing up for my ebook, if you'd like a set of postcards or if you'd like a print of one of my pieces of work, give me your address and I'll drop one in the mail to you, then they'll give you their address. And then you have the ability to send something to them time and time again. It might stimulate interest. Anyway, you want a qualified list, and that's the best way to become an effective marketer. Well, this has been the Art Marketing Minute with me, Eric Rhoads. My goal in life is to eliminate the idea of the starving artist and to help your dreams actually come true. So if you want to submit questions, simply email eric@artmarketing.com. And to learn more about marketing ideas, you can visit artmarketing.com. Thanks for listening.